cats and kittens, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of The MonkeyBoy Presents the DC Comics Superhero Collection by Eaglemoss, and today I'm happy to bring you the 13th special edition in this collection, the Green Lantern Kilowog. That's right, lucky number 13, one of my favorite numbers, and one of my favorite characters in the DCU, not just the Green Lantern Corps. He's been around for quite a while, actually. As is customary with the special edition figures, very quickly, first we'll look at the packaging he comes in, because it is different as opposed to the regular collection. You can see it has the DC Comics Superhero Collection in bright red at the top of the packaging. The sides also feature some artwork of Kilowog, along with his name above. And just so you can compare, there it is next to one of the regular figures packaging in the collection. So you can see the special editions do have that really nice slip case, and his is quite a lot lighter in coloration as well. Pretty interesting. For those of you who are aware of Kilowog, you may recognize him from multiple animated appearances over a long period of time, actually. He appeared once upon a time, for the first time as far as I can tell, on an episode of the old Duck Dodgers cartoon show featuring Daffy Duck. There was a version of the Green Lantern Corps featured on that. He later appeared on an episode of the Justice League animated series. He went on to, of course, appear in the animated movie Green Lantern Emerald Knights, which was a very cool appearance, and that's a great film. If you've not seen it, I highly recommend it, as well as an animated appearance in the other animated Green Lantern movie, First Flight, which is, again, a very, very cool film. He was realized on the big screen in CGI, sort of live action, in the Green Lantern the Movie film from a few years back. He more recently has appeared on television in the animated Batman the Brave and the Bold, and went on to appear on the unfortunately canceled Green Lantern the Animated Series, which he was basically a co-star on that. He appeared, as far as I can tell, on pretty much every episode of that, and it was very cool to see him. One thing I do want to point out with the magazine, there is a major error on the inside of the cover where they have the glossary, the contents. It is not even close to accurate. It says it starts with an iconography and then the classics and the players. It's totally out of order. It's not even close to right. You'll see, of course, what I mean when we go through, first of all, the magazine, which will tell you everything you need to know about the Green Lantern known as Kilowog, one of the best in the Corps. And then we'll take a look at the figure itself, covering the good, the bad, and the ugly. A very impressive figure. Again, one of my favorite figures, one of my favorite characters. I think they really did him justice with this. I hope you sit back, relax, and enjoy the 13th special edition in the DC Comics Superhero Collection by Eaglemoss, the Green Lantern Kilowog. First up, the character section. Kilowog, hailing from the planet Bolavax Vic. He was originally chosen to become the Green Lantern of his planet and that space sector, working his way up the ranks to eventually become the drill instructor for the entire Green Lantern Corps, helping to train new recruits. He has since gone on to become a member of the Green Lantern Corps' elite honor guard. Kilowog, who is really a genial giant, described the planet Bolavax Vic with love and affection. He spoke as though his homeworld were paradise, and loved the fact that the population was so dense you couldn't walk down the street without rubbing shoulders. The people also shared a collective consciousness, and he was just one of many of its scientific and cultural geniuses. He also reluctantly agreed to become the planet's representative in the Green Lantern Corps. Like all new recruits in the Green Lantern Corps, Kilowog had to undergo basic training, and his drill instructor was a man named Ermi. Ermi constantly berated the new recruits, seeking to break them down in order to build them back up and make them into the best lanterns they could be. Unfortunately, Green Lantern Ermi lost his life when he and the new recruits were called in as a last line of defense. With his dying breath, he made Kilowog a full-blown Green Lantern. Soon after this, the Anti-Monitor declared war across the DC universe, destroying entire worlds and universes in his path, including Kilowog's homeworld of Bolivax Vic. After losing his homeworld, Kilowog journeyed to Earth with fellow Green Lanterns Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan, and John Stewart, where he encountered many different villains, including longtime Green Lantern nemesis Black Hand. During his time on Earth, Kilowog also inadvertently aided the USSR during the Cold War by helping to create the superhero team known as Rocket Red. Kilowog and his fellow Green Lanterns also tried to resurrect his people by terraforming a nearby planet to become their new homeworld, but as he was releasing their souls from within his power ring, the villainous Sinestro decimated the planet from orbit. Although he had given up his Green Lantern power ring, Kilowog still served proudly with the Justice League International as resident mechanic and scientific genius. He was also on hand to try and comfort Hal Jordan after his hometown of Coast City was destroyed by the villainous cyborg Superman and Mongol. Kilowog was eventually the last Green Lantern standing between Hal Jordan, now known as Parallax, and the Central Power Battery on Oa. He stood heroically against his former friend and teammate before Parallax vaporized him. For a time, Kilowog's soul was resurrected as a being known as the Dark Lantern, and after a period of time, both Kilowog and Hal Jordan were reconstituted and returned to life as proud members of the Green Lantern Corps. It was during Blackest Night that he was confronted with his greatest fear of all, the resurrected zombified corpse of his drill sergeant, Ermi. Ultimately, Kilowog and his fellow Green Lanterns from the new Corps managed to beat back the Black Lanterns and their villainous master, Nekron. As Brightest Day dawned across the DC universe, Kilowog took a new position alongside other Green Lanterns on the elite Honor Guard and passed on drill instructor duties to his second-in-command, the Green Lantern known as Stel. Next, we look at a few of Kilowog's classic stories. First up, Green Lantern, Emerald Twilight. This is the story of Hal Jordan's downfall after his hometown of Coast City and hundreds of thousands of its inhabitants were destroyed by the villainous cyborg Superman and Mongol. He goes on a rampage across the DC universe, eventually calling himself Parallax. He even does battle with one-time Green Lantern, Sinestro, who has been called back into active duty by a very desperate Guardians of the Universe. Kilowog is featured throughout the story and is eventually the last Green Lantern standing between the villainous Hal Jordan and the Central Power Battery on Oa. It's a wonderfully illustrated story and should not be missed. Next we have the Green Lantern Corps, Friends in Need. This story takes place after Hal Jordan and Kilowog have both been miraculously returned to life. Kilowog and a number of other Green Lanterns are relaxing on the Green Lantern planet known as Mogo, when all of a sudden Kilowog and a few others start to go insane with rage. The unaffected Green Lanterns discover that there are spores that can take over your mind. Over the course of the story, the Green Lanterns along with the planet Mogo work to rid the infected Green Lanterns of these spores, eventually freeing Kilowog, but not before unleashing his raw power. Finally, we take a look at Blackest Night. And this was perhaps the DCU's darkest hour since the Crisis on Infinite Earths. We find the villainous Nekron alongside his Black Lantern Corps slowly spreading across the galaxy, raising an evil army of undead heroes and villains to destroy all light and life in the universe. And while Kilowog may not be a featured character throughout the course of the story, he does make several appearances, proving once and for all that he is one of the greatest Green Lanterns, as he stands alongside his fellow Corps across the color spectrum to help destroy Nekron and the Black Lantern Corps once and for all. Kilowog's Friends and Foes section features his former drill instructor from the Green Lantern Corps, Ermi, and his friend and ally, Guy Gardner. And the next couple pages feature his friends and teammates Arizi, Arab, and Salak, and villains Anti-Monitor and Sinestro. Lastly, the iconography section gives us a quick guide to the Green Lantern Corps. It talks a little bit more about the Guardians of the Universe, who created the Green Lantern Corps by harnessing the green energy of willpower. The Green Lantern Corps' homeworld is planet Oa, at the very center of known space in Space Sector 0, and the entire planet is encased inside of a protective shield that looks like a gigantic Green Lantern. Assembled within the shield of Oa is an entire population of Green Lanterns who represent countless worlds from across the DC universe. Every Green Lantern recruit is put through arduous training by drill instructor Kilowog. The last two pages take a closer look at some of the specialized groups within the Green Lantern Corps, like the Honor Guard, made up of elite Green Lanterns whose actions often go above and beyond the call of duty. There's also a select group of Green Lanterns who are chosen to patrol the science cells where the enemies of the Green Lantern Corps are held. Essentially, they are prison guards and are regarded as some of the most trustworthy and honored among the Green Lanterns, since they must deal with such evil beings on a daily basis. The Internal Affairs Department of the Green Lantern Corps, known as the Alpha Lanterns, who are cybernetic in nature. And lastly, the Black Ops arm of the Green Lantern Corps, known simply as the Corps. While this organization officially doesn't exist, the Corps is sent in to handle the most extreme and dangerous missions of the Green Lantern Corps. Here we have Kilowog, an amazing special edition figure. Another Green Lantern. I know a lot of you are probably sick of Green Lanterns at this point. I, however, love the entire Corps, and I think it's fantastic that we get this fan favorite figure, character, whatever you want to call it, as a part of this collection. I think he is a really, really nice figure, perfect, really. And I think he qualifies as a special edition just because he is very, very large and extremely well detailed. You can see how ripped he is. He is just so muscled and sculpted and well shaded and painted. The green has that nice metallic fleck to it, but it's not too heavy in any one spot. It's very well done. You can see just how ripped his back is and everything. You can see the ring very clearly on that middle finger. He has, just 4 fingers on each hand. The logo on the chest. His face is really outstanding. It's hard to see it here, but it's great. Teeth, tongue, his eyes are awesome. His skin tone, flesh tone, the pigmentation, everything all the way down. And he's a big, big guy too. He's a huge figure. As I said, definitely well worth being a special edition. I love him. I think he's really cool. Not necessarily for everyone. There are some minor issues I have with him, but I'll talk about those in the next section in just a moment. Kilowog stands atop the classic DC logo, and the underside of his oversized base features his name and serial number. And to give you a sense of size and scale, here he is staring down the evil Parallax and Sinestro, alongside some of the other special edition figures in the collection. And finally, a group shot alongside all of the other Green Lantern Corps members that have been produced as part of both this collection and the Blackest Night, Brightest Day sub-series. Kilowog is a wonderful special edition. I feel he's a return to form as to what the special editions in this collection should be, as opposed to like Jonah Hex, who we just featured not that long ago. This guy is huge, he's sculpted beautifully, he's painted very nicely, and he has lots of fantastic little details, which you'll see here in a second. Because we'll start with the good. The pose is awesome. I think it looks imposing and tough and strong, which of course he's all those things being a drill instructor. He's huge, his scale is gigantic, his coloration is perfect, his costume is nice, the paint job is clean, the sculpt, the details, everything about him is fantastic. The boots are very well painted with that emerald green, a slight metallic flecking. The black is a nice glossy black, and you can see how muscular he is. All of the muscles in his legs, up his thighs. His upper body is also very nicely done. His chest is broad and huge, his shoulders, his forearms, his biceps and triceps. I like how you can see the fingers on each hand, how just bulging his arms are all the way up to his neck. His back is just, again, covered in musculature. That green is really nice. Great metallic flecking. It's never too heavy in any one spot. It's very nice and even. It looks great under the right lighting. Again, the hands are perfectly done. He has the ring, which is beautifully sculpted on his middle finger there, and the Green Lantern logo is perfect, as it should be. His scale, as I said, you can see here, he's perfectly scaled. He's gigantic, as he should be. Which leaves the best part of the figure, the head sculpt. It is Kilowog through and through. His skin tone is perfect. I love the texture that they gave him. I love his little ears on the top. The face is absolutely the best part, though. I love how he looks just sort of menacing and determined, you know, just angry almost. How his mouth is open. You can see every tooth has sculpture. I love those jowls of his, I suppose they are. The sunken nose. You can see his tongue, the roof of his mouth, and his eyes are awesome. The coloration is just beautifully done. He has lots of character in his face. It's really an outstanding figure, in my opinion, that has very few problems. The bad. The only nitpicks I can have with this character are the ring, as nicely sculpted as it is. I wish that it had the Green Lantern logo sculpted on there. Even a sticker would have been nice. And the logo on the chest is perfect because it's a decal, and I don't like that. I wish it was painted on, but I appreciate that it is a perfect logo at least. The ugly nothing. He is a big, solid, heavy lead figure. There is nothing bendable or breakable about Kilowog. Overall, I'm very, very pleased with Kilowog. I think he is a fantastic figure, a great addition to the line, and the epitome of special edition. He's huge, he's beautifully sculpted and molded and painted, so much character in his face, and I think it was also a wise decision to make him a special edition in the regular collection and not a part of Blackest Night, Brightest Day. And I know it seems like there are a lot of Green Lanterns, but that's only if you include that sub-series in your collection. If not, Kilowog here is the only other Green Lantern in the regular collection besides all of the human Green Lanterns. He's the only alien one. So I think he's just awesome. I think he's a fan favorite. If you know him and love him, you need to pick him up and add him to your collection because he's just perfect. He really is perfect. He's just gigantic and he looks great with the other Green Lanterns on your shelf, regardless of whether or not you got the ones from the Blackest Night, Brightest Day sub-series or not. He still looks awesome to have there. But yeah, Kilowog here, fantastic, wonderful, wonderful figure. I highly recommend him. You should definitely add him to your personal collection, and I hope that you have enjoyed this review of the 13th special edition in the DC Eaglemoss collection, Kilowog, the Green Lantern. Please stay tuned for a quick teaser trailer of the next figure in the series, issue number 99. Oh my gosh, we're almost to 100, ladies and gentlemen. But the next one, 99, is a member of the Superman family and a great character. Really looking forward to bringing that to you. As always, I am your host, the Monkey Boy, aka J to his friends. Thanks for watching.